What a better time to make a video about what to do if you lose power than when you're making a video and you lose power. I'll show you a couple of meals that are ready to open and eat. I'm not about to let a crisis go to waste. I don't have time for that. So I'm going to show you all the preps I have on hand to keep my mind and body motivated during a blackout. I'm going to show you books, crafts, games, you name it. Come along, I'm going to show you what preps I have. I can stay busy in the dark. Have you ever thought about what you would do if you lost power? I was in the middle of making a video, part of my pantry organization series. I decided, since we're without power, what a great segue to talk about what would you do if you lost power for a long period of time. Are you prepared with water filtration, with food that's just ready to open and eat, doesn't require any cooking? Do you have enough to keep your young children occupied or yourself? Let's discuss these things, shall we? I think most people nowadays have one of those handheld can openers. A lot of them have these pop tops, but that's not the case with all of them, so you want to make sure you have a way to open a can. These rices that are ready to open and eat come in different flavors. Batteries for our flashlights are a must too to get around the house. Some other good things that are ready to just open and eat are these individual servings of Spam, tuna. It's important to have a nice variety on hand to avoid food fatigue if you're having to eat this for long term. They also have canned meals like white chicken chili, canned tamales, having some jerky on hand. I can't remember where I got these meatballs. I think they either came from Family Dollar or Dollar General. I haven't tried these yet. If anybody has tried these, will you let me know in the comments what you think of them? It's also a good idea to have a nice variety of freeze-dried fruit or freeze-dried vegetables. Like we've got these edamame. You want to think about all 3 meals of a day. Maybe try to have some granola bars or other type of cereal bars that are ready to open and eat. What if you lose power for a while, or we have another event like what we had in 2020? What are you going to do to keep from going stir crazy? Something to occupy your mind. Over the years, I have just collected workout equipment. As you can see back there, I've got a little trampoline. I've got resistance bands for yoga, Pilates. I've got a yoga mat. I've got little kettlebells, different little things that help you kind of stay in shape. You want to make sure that you have a way to get rid of that nervous energy and stay healthy. If you like to read, you want to make sure that you have some books on hand. I did a video the other day where I showed all my cookbooks that are in the kitchen. So those are good to have if you like cooking. If you lose power, maybe use that as an opportunity to catch up on some recipes that you want to try. I've got my books divided into 4 categories. So I've got the cookbooks, special interest books, my truther books, which are behind me on these floating bookshelves here. First and foremost, I recommend you read your Bible for the ultimate truth. That's where everything can be found. I'm in the middle of Hebrews right now, started in Genesis, so I have a few more books to go, and then I'm going to continue to reread my Bible. I'm never going to stop. I might read it in a different order next time. If you read like all the letters to the church back to back, all the gospels back to back, it's a little bit redundant, which it's good. You know, it's good to have that repeated to you, but I think I'm going to try to change it up next time and read it a little bit out of order. I'm not going to go down too deep of a rabbit hole in this video. There are a lot of books where you can learn what's happened to get us to where we are right now, like Behold a Pale Horse, The Franklin Cover-Up. If you're following certain stories in the news with regards to an island and some well-known individuals. I've been posting and sharing this stuff on social media for years. A lot of people can't handle what's really going on in this world. My bad habit is starting a book and then getting distracted and not getting back to it in a timely manner. I started this For the Sake of America. I've got all 5 parts. At last check, I think there's just 5 parts by Sheila Holm. Kind of just brings you up to speed, just putting the pieces together of what's happening in America. Get yourself some books that interest you, self-improvement or inspirational books or history books, anything that you enjoy. The power's back on. Let's see how long it lasts. It's been flickering on and off all day. I know I didn't go into detail of all my truther books, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to let me know. I was in the middle of reading Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. I'm not sure where that book is or if I'm overlooking it, but that's a good one, and that will make a lot of things going on in this world make sense. If you have any questions about any of these books, just let me know. One of my bucket lists when I retire is to hike the Appalachian Trail. I don't know if I'll do a through hike. That takes about 7 months, and it requires a lot of time and money. So I'll probably just hike from trailhead to trailhead as time allows. It starts in Georgia, ends in Maine. I've got these books that are kind of preparing me what to expect. Chica's on the Appalachian Trail. Drive and hike the Appalachian Trail, about different landmarks and hostels to stay in, places to eat when you're in town. The AT guide. Platinum blazing the Appalachian Trail. Platinum blazing refers to people who don't necessarily stay on the trail. They don't carry a tent. Their pack is a lot lighter. They kind of just do day trips. Instead of staying in hostels, they might stay in some nicer hotels. Day hikes of the Appalachian Trail. It'll tell you like where all the good stops are, the nice waterfalls, all the pretty views. If you and your family like board games, be sure to keep a collection of board games on hand. My current favorite one is called All of Us. It is something that multi-generations can play if you think of the game Pictionary, but this has questions for boomers, Gen Xers, millennials. It's got everybody covered in here, so you can do categories that are more geared to questions that you can answer, so everybody can participate. You can have your children and your grandparents all playing at the same time. Olivia gave me this Golden Girls clue game that I can't wait to try. The thing is, I don't know if anybody in my family knows Golden Girls the same as me, so it won't really be a fair fight. I enjoy puzzles. I also like coloring. This is a more intricate coloring book. Make sure to have markers and colored pencils on hand. You can go to the Dollar Tree and get plenty of crossword puzzles, just anything to occupy your mind during a power outage. A few months back, I was really into crocheting, so I have plenty of yarn on hand. I also got this latch hook kit. I used to love doing this when I was young. Now I'm going to start talking about my preparedness books, the complete book of vitamins. This is chock full of natural remedies. I got this at an estate sale. I think I paid $2 for it. If you have a portable DVD player on hand that happens to be charged up, I've started collecting DVDs. As many people may have noticed by all the shirts I wear that are very nostalgic, I live in the headspace of times gone by that were a lot easier, like the 80s. Let me show you some of my favorite movies, and if you're an 80s kid, you'll know what these are. Can't Buy Me Love, Xanadu, which also have a Xanadu shirt, 9 to 5, The Legend of Billie Jean. Now we're getting really obscure here. Cult classic, Selena. I don't know if she's just more of a Texas icon or what, but I love Selena. The Outsiders, Annie, Ice Castles, The Karate Kid, which, by the way, if you're not watching Cobra Kai, it's an awesome show. They had to pause production due to the writers and actors strike, but I think they are gonna finish up the last season. Valley Girl, for sure, for sure. Weird Science, and my all-time favorite, Grease. I've been collecting beads for quite a while now. I am so excited to see that that's still a thing. I grew up in the 70s and 80s making friendship bracelets, so I have all the things I need. This is more for a long-term grid down situation, if that ever happens. You want to make sure you have an old school map. How often do we rely on Google Maps? What if the grid went down, and what if you couldn't get from point A to point B? It's good to have a hard copy of the map. Now we're going to talk about some of my favorite preparedness books. Now, I am guilty of not reading these as often as I should. You should never wait for a crisis or any kind of emergency to start preparing. It's good to know this stuff right now. If the grid ever goes down or whatever hits the fan, you can be prepared. Oh, I need to put this one in the kitchen. Meals in a jar. That's not... I mean, I guess that could be preparedness, but I did a video a few days ago where I talked about some of my kitchen cookbooks. It's in the bag. The thought behind it is like if you were in a bug out situation and you had to grab a bag and head out, it would be a complete meal. Big Ziploc bag that includes a side and entree. I'm going to start making a couple of pantry recipes using this. This would also be good. You have an emergency in your family and you need to go have surgery and you're going to be laid up for a week or so. It's a way to, if you know in advance and you put together like a week or 2 weeks worth of meals in a bag where your family, your teenagers can just grab it, go into the kitchen, have some instructions printed out on a card. That will be a burden off your shoulders. 1001 Home Health Remedies, the Prepper's Medical Handbook. I've done a video before about all my preps in my medicine cabinet, and I'll try to upload that in the description box. Don't throw it, grow it. Instead of throwing your vegetable and fruit scraps away, it shows you how you can plant them and regrow them. Doesn't matter how big of space you have to work with. If you have a big huge garden in your backyard, or if you live in an apartment and you just plant some things in your windowsill, there's so many things you can do and learn from this book. This is the dehydrator cookbook. Since we got our freeze dryer, I have not been using my dehydrator as much. I do love my dehydrator though, especially to make jerky or to make fruit leather, but I've been focusing more on long-term food storage, and I know these are more for short-term, like if you're going hiking, camping, where you're going to use it within a shorter period of time, like a 6-month window to a year. Here is another dinner in a jar. This is also like a pretty way to present your food in your pantry and to give as gifts to other people so they have complete meals. Oh, this was another book I was looking for in the kitchen the other day when I was showing you my cookbooks. Substituting Ingredients. So whatever you're out of, if you need to make a recipe and you notice you're out of something, you can look in here and it will tell you what to substitute for what. If there's a grid down situation, or if you just lose power temporarily, depending on the weather outside, but if you are able to cook outdoors in a Dutch oven over a fire, it's got plenty of recipes because you need to know like how long to cook it, whether or not to let the fire go out, just use the coals, how many you have to use on the bottom of your cast iron, how many you put on the lid. It's a whole thing, so you need to make sure that you know how to use this. Survival Prepping, a guide to hunkering down, bugging out, and getting out of Dodge when crisis hits suburbia. A modern-day prepping guide to effectively bug in and protect your family, home in a societal collapse. Survival Hacks. This is probably similar if you grew up doing Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts. Then this just kind of shows you some makeshift things to do, like how to start a fire, camp cooking, and it's a collection of forest service recipes. Another easy campfire cookbook, the Prepared Family Cookbook by Enola Gay. Am I showing these long enough? I don't think so. I think I'm just going and then putting it down. How to Survive Off-Grid, the Scouting Guide to Survival. It has more than 200 skills for staying warm, building a shelter, and signaling for help. Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, Natural Healing Encyclopedia, the Prepared Family Guide to Uncommon Diseases, another book by Enola Gay, The Cure is in the Cupboard. These are just books that I collected over the years. I have been on my prepping journey for about 7 years, even before 2020. Back in the day when couponing was a big deal, all those shows like Extreme Couponing, and I got into that, so I had kind of started building a stockpile, if you will, back then. And then just when I started seeing weird things happening in the world, even before 2020, I just started slowly building up my preparedness inventory. I realized I kind of just touched on some of the fun stuff, like crafts and things to do to occupy your mind and your body while you are without power on the short term. I will be sure to do a more lengthy video another time that just talks about all the other things, all the other factors involved with water. And you want to make sure you have plenty of water on hand, not only to drink, but water to cook with, bathe with, clean with. A lot of this will depend on the season. If you lose power, like we're in the middle of winter, but we live in Texas, so it's kind of a mild winter so far. But things like if you lose power and it's really, really cold in your house and you need to stay warm, I've bought some cheap $20 tents that hold 2 people. I bought 2 of them, so for 4 of us. And if we ever needed to huddle in the living room and rely on each other's body heat, we've got a couple of tents and extra blankets and sleeping pads. If it was summertime, we have portable fans. Those are charged up and ready to go. Just different things to think of depending on your climate, where you live, what season, if something was to happen. Those are just good things to consider when it comes to prepping. I started out working on my pantry series, video number 5, organizing my soup shelf, and then we just kept losing power and it's raining and everything, and I thought, well, rather than just sitting around, why don't I make a video about if we lose power? So I hope that you enjoyed it. There wasn't a whole lot of planning involved in this, which is ironic because that's what this is about, is planning and being prepared. But I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone. Hope you're doing well and staying warm. God bless.